Ever felt like budgeting should come with a warning label? Whether you are a student living off noodles, a single person trying to stretch each dollar, or a parent wondering, what is that money? Where did the money really go? You are in the right place. So, my friends, welcome to Tax and Relaxed with Yassine, an accounting MBA grad with a real world accounting experience. My philosophy is based on these things: keep it simple and to the point, make it fun, and avoid all the boring stuff. So, we will be talking about, or I will show you how I turned my money mess into an easy, no stress budgeting system. And also, I will show you my Excel sheet that saved me. And believe me, if I tell you this, if I did it, you can definitely do it. So, let's get into the details of this, or the main points of this video basically. The first part, I'm going to be explaining to you budgeting with simple words and simple examples. The second part, I'm going to share my budgeting experience, but through a short story. This is my first time doing it. And the last thing we are gonna, or the last part, I would say, we are going to go through the Excel sheet I built. So let's do this. Let's be honest, budgeting doesn't feel like a party, but it can save your life. It can save your life, it can save my life too. So, um, sure, it is like, it requires, some discipline, some power to stop that sound or that voice in your head. Treat yourself, man. You're not going to live forever. Treat yourself for this, for this coffee or for just this fancy dinner or whatever. But things can get complicated sometimes and out of hand. But here is the good news: budgeting doesn't have, or it shouldn't be hard. It is kind of a superpower that we can gain after practice. So, what is the recipe of this budgeting thing I'm talking about here? The recipe is easy, is simple habits. That's why I built my budgeting system based on weekly tracking, not that monthly tracking. You go crazy one week and you come at the end of the month and you go like, holy moly, did they spend all this? So weekly tracking builds those habits that we need. We are we are creatures of habits. You do it today, tomorrow, then you start to do it unconsciously. That's basically the point. So it's just like brushing your teeth, every day, or grabbing that cup of coffee or cup of tea or whatever. The main thing is doing it consistently, and things start to feel amazing. You win every weekend. Like you go on a Sunday, you check your Excel sheet that I'm gonna share with you, and you go like, holy moly, that's a good win. And we are gonna get into more details here. So budgeting basically equals confidence, freedom, and finally telling your money where it's supposed to go. This $10 or this $20 or $100 or $1,000 or whatever the amount, I wanted it to go here. Not just like that midnight shopping thing. Like you get excited about. Oh, I really need this thing in my life, but at the end of the day, we end up putting ourselves in complicated situations. So understanding budgeting basically, for me or for a lot of people, this is not an unknown thing, is based on five key things basically. And while understanding those five key things, what you need to understand, or what we need to understand basically, is controlling the fixed and variable costs and expenses. Let me explain these two quickly here. So fixed costs are like Netflix subscriptions. Something, it's fixed. You're gonna pay the same amount, like a gym membership, the same amount each month. And these kind of expenses are hard to control because they are fixed. Then you have the variable expenses, or the costs, things that you can control. Do I want to have lunch in this fancy restaurant, or do I want to make food at home, or do you want to go to this okay restaurant? So this lunch price, between brackets, can go either up or down depending how much you want to spend. It's like somebody who chooses a variable interest on their mortgage, right? Variable interest, you can't control it. It's based on the market behavior. Then it can become a fixed expense if you choose the fixed rate. And again, the fixed rates are dangerous, because you have to pay that amount. Like if your rent is 1,500, you have to pay that 1,500. There is no way for it's gonna go down, right? So this is the challenge, but it's good to understand those things. And the fixed costs can move from basically, some costs can, as I said before, they can become variable, they can become fixed. And that's the challenge actually, and the big challenge is controlling those fixed expenses. Anyway, so the five things I mentioned before, so I keep looking here because my camera is in this section here. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So the five things we need to basically understand to control our budget, our weekly budget. That's basically going to lead us to a monthly budget, then to the yearly budget, and that's what actually you're going to see in the Excel sheet. So the first thing is needs, the things that you cannot negotiate: your rent, your groceries, your mortgage, your utilities. And for example, these ones, generally these needs are going to be kind of fixed costs, but some of them are going to be variable. Like for example, your utilities. How do you use utilities? Do you like leave lights on all over the place? Do you use the AC all day? Do you use the heater all the time? What kind? It's crazy. It sounds like, I'm trying to stop you or stop myself or my family from enjoying making life comfortable, but at what cost, right? Like we have to be reasonable. So as I said, you can control a little bit your utilities. If you want to save some money, maybe you shouldn't be spending 40 minutes under the shower. Maybe make it 20, 30, whatever. The same thing for groceries. Like you can buy some food that you can make a big batch of it, and can feed you for lunch and dinner. So again, this budgeting can change depending on your needs. So these are the needs, things you need. Then there are the wants, the spice of life. Okay, so we said we're gonna keep it simple and fun. So we're not gonna be going crazy all the time, not buying things. From time to time, you need to thank yourself, right? You're not gonna live forever, as we say. But it's good to control those wants. Like make a plan. You know what? Like every Monday, I'm gonna buy myself this fancy drink, and that's it, right? Or Tuesday, or whatever you choose your day. So the spice of life things, like you can't live without like movies, or as I said before, a coffee or something like that. So again, these things we should actually, honestly, I advise people to have these things, because you are not going to live forever. We need these things, but in control, right? Don't just go crazy. Like sometimes, like personally, I make tea at work, or I make coffee. I used to make coffee in the morning, take it with me to work. But sometimes I feel, the urge, like I really want to go get like, a coffee, a latte or something. But I know myself, if I do it one day, I'm going to be start doing it the next day. So I tell myself, I just stick to it. Bring your tea, bring your coffee from home, and things. That's how it goes. It's just like, and at the end of the day, you feel like a winner, right? Because you didn't fall for it. So that's the trick. Then the other one is debt. This is the ghost of purchase past. Credit cards, loans, etc. So these things are, they are going to go after you, and if we can control our debt, will be awesome. That's why it's good to put a portion from your budget, from your monthly budget or weekly budget, into the debt. Put this one here and forget about it. That way, those interests don't keep compiling. So, and the other, or the fourth component, is saving. Of course, saving is like just giving yourself a hug in the future, saving some amounts. One day you're gonna become old and you need that money, so we need to make a portion for saving. Any amount, it's gonna make a difference in the future. Then the fifth part is emergencies. Oh my God, emergencies. Don't you love, that random, blow up tire, knock on wood, right? Or car breaking down or something. Like I have an old car. I don't have a brand fancy new car because um, I don't think I need a fancy car personally because I work very close to home, and I don't know. I don't need it, so it doesn't make sense for me to buy a fancy car. If my car makes me money, I would definitely invest in it. That's how I think. So yeah, save that little money. You never know. As I said, an accident happens, you get sick, things like that. So it's good to put some amount for those emergencies. So my friends, these are the main things basically you need to remember: needs, wants, debt, savings, and emergencies. And keep in your mind fixed cost and variable cost. Fixed costs are really hard to control, are really hard to get rid of. But remember, there are some fixed costs that we can, or there are some fixed costs like utilities is a fixed cost, but it can become a variable cost. We can make it variable by controlling how much we consume of it. So the next step, so hopefully this was clear enough and simple. And the next step is going to be listening to my short story or my journey. I try to make it fun and dramatic a little bit. So hopefully you guys gonna enjoy it, and make sure to share your comments about the story. In my cramped, messy basement with a half eaten instant noodle cup on the desk and way too many Amazon boxes stacked in a corner. It was 11:47 p.m. on a Thursday night, and I was staring into the digital abyss, aka my online banking app. The number on the screen made me feel personally attacked. $70? I blinked, refreshed the app again. Still $70. My stomach growled. I looked over at the sad noodle cup and whispered, "Guess it's just you and me, pal." I flopped back on my chair, arms spread like I would just lost a championship match. "Budgeting is the worst," I said. That's when I heard the voice in my head, that chaotic, persuasive gremlin.
You worked hard. You deserve that overpriced donut. Treat yourself.
I sat up and shouted back, "No, gremlin. You've tricked me for the last time." Fueled by frustration and 37% caffeine, I opened a blank Excel sheet. It was time. Time to adult properly. I whispered like a movie hero.
Let's build a budget that doesn't suck.
I broke it down like a genius on a mission. Needs, groceries, rent, boring but necessary. Wants, my Netflix, my latte equals my happiness. Debt, like a toxic ex that keeps texting me. Savings, a hug for my future self. Emergency funds, because my old Toyota doesn't care about my budget, but I love it anyway. As I typed, the chaos in my head started to quiet down. It felt less like a chore and more like plotting a heist. Except the vault I was cracking open was my own future. Every category I filled in felt like laying bricks on a secret escape tunnel out of prison. I wasn't just organizing numbers, I was making a map to freedom. And for the first time in forever, that map actually made sense. I called my friend Sammy the next day. "Bruh, you okay? You sound suspiciously responsible." I built a budget, I said proudly. He choked on his coffee. Who are you, man? Said someone who is not crying at the ATM machine anymore. Well, my friends, budgeting doesn't have to feel like punishment. You just need rhythm. Weekly, monthly, yearly. It's like leveling up your finances without rage quitting. So, my friends, I hope you enjoyed the little or the short story I made. It is my first time making it. I've never made the one, so hopefully you liked it. So, drop me your comments and let me know what you thought about it. Now it's time to share the Excel sheet. Again, as I said before, this Excel sheet is not complicated. It is simple and to the point. No fancy charts. It is just simple, and I am punching the microphone here. And also, I don't know if you can hear it, but there are my cats are here. So if you hear some noise or stuff, that's them, not me. So look at the Excel sheet here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not sure why I'm saying that, but we start with the income here at the top. Here you have some people have more than one source of income, others have one. So feel free to add lines here and make sure to just to basically add that. If you add a line here, you can just make sure to include it in the formula there. Then I made, as I said before, this budget is based on what can I say? It's a weekly budget, so I divided the month weekly. I only put 4 weeks here. Sometimes you may want to add one depending on the month, and then you have the monthly here. So weekly to monthly. Then at the end of this Excel sheet, you're gonna find the totals in one summary, which is the yearly. So if you control your weeks, you're kind of preparing for your year. So that's how it works. So this is what I did here. In weekly, some people generally they pay bi-weekly for what can I say, for mortgage. I'm not sure if there are people paying weekly, but I just put it there just to keep in mind. Mortgage is a big thing, and you can put that money aside for it early enough. Then you have groceries. Of course, you need to eat. Groceries budget is here, as you can see. Then you have gas and transportation, entertainment, as we talked about, those extra spices of life. You need to what can I say? You need to thank yourself sometimes. To make yourself feel happy from time to time, right? And you know what? By the way, you can actually entertainment can be something big like a holidays. You can put like like when we talked about needs and wants and stuff, you can add another section and say vacation and like plan for the end of the year to have that extra time for it, or sorry, that extra money for it. Then you have your debt. Keep track early. Don't wait till the end of the month because you may spend all the money, and you have nothing. Then you have savings, and they put miscellaneous here. It can be anything else than other and other and other. You can add things that work for you that way. Then same thing happens, repeated each week here. Then you get to the monthly. There are some amounts, some things that you pay monthly, not weekly, like phones, water, basically all the utilities, internet, insurance, home insurance, property taxes, and you may have other things like health insurance or stuff like that. That's why there are other here, so you can add more lines. You can replace this other with a name that works for you. Then basically everything gets totaled here. Everything is linked here. And my friends, this is how it works. This is January. Then you have Feb, March, April. Boom, boom, boom. You keep going till you get to December. I try to use colors to make it easy to track the months. Then this is December. So let's look at as January, for example. So you get in the totals here, you get the total income. This is how much you made. These are the expenses, and this is the difference. Wow! This in this month, January, we started a good year. We have some savings, some extra savings. What you're gonna do with those savings? If you look here, you have future savings, C note one. So what did I say? Future savings amount is the total weekly amount you save. Then car savings. Say if you want to buy a car, as I said before, or a vacation, you can save for it. Then this amount that you saved here is gonna go to future savings. That's something you're not gonna touch till the future when you're old man or old woman. Then the car is you're saving at the end of the year. Maybe you want to have a good down payment, or you want to buy an old car like me. Who knows? And then vacation. This is something you can big entertainment. You can treat yourself, and we deserve that. You know what? We're not. I don't know. We are not animals. We need sometimes to enjoy our time and enjoy ourselves. So don't forget to like and subscribe and share. I wrote it here, so I don't forget. Anyway, so as I said, this is repeated monthly. Feb, March, blah, 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 blah. Then you go to the end. We have December or December. A friend of mine, his son used to say this December to December. You know, you guys know nothing about that. Anyway, so we got to December, same thing. Then you got to the yearly. And again, this is connected to the all month. You are saving in the first week of January, and you are basically showing that at the yearly budgeting, basically at the end of the year. Oh my god, this cat is coming in. Hopefully things are going to be okay. Then at the end of the year, you know as it sorry, I got interrupted here. If when you start saving in the first week of January, you are basically saving for December, for the end of the year. So that's really good. That $20 you put here and there in January, it's gonna get reflected at the end of the year. So here you go, budget boss. You did it. You made it till the end of the year. Fantastic. Congrats if you hit your saving target. And do not feel bad, my friends, if you don't. At least you know where your money going. It's going. And it's step by step. Sometimes you have to make more money. And that's another way of basically making your budget better, is bringing more money. And be careful, if you bring more money, don't spend more again. So anyway, this says the total income here is $46,200. Expenses 38, not too bad. Total difference is 7. Look at you go there. You save for your future self. You're giving yourself a hug here, and you have 1,600 saved for the future. You have your car savings 3,996, and your vacation. And you can play with these numbers. At the end of the year, you say, "Hey, I don't need a car. I live in a city where there is. Oh my God, the light is gonna fall. Please stop." um, like you live in a city where there is good transportation. Why do I need to? What can I say? Why do I need to? Why do I need to buy a car? Honestly, personally, if our city where I live, we had a good system. Like I lived before in the past in Seoul, South Korea. Fantastic. What can I say? Fantastic public transportation. I will never own a car there. You don't need it. Subways take you everywhere. You never get lost. Thank you so much for watching. And make sure to like and subscribe and watch the next video. I guarantee you're gonna enjoy it. Bye bye, and see you next time.